Now, you guys have heard me go on about how Bitcoin is going to severely compromise the banks, which is a very bold statement, I know that. Um, but I've never really gone into why that is. And someone said to me that, the stuff that we're putting out there is rather higher grade. So I'm going to do a bit of a Bitcoin 101 with you guys, and I'm going to do that by means of a relatable story. And the story is called the Byzantine Generals Problem. The Byzantine Generals Problem. It's a story that describes a situation that the Byzantine army finds themselves in, and it relates to Bitcoin quite nicely. In fact, it's used quite often to sort of explain some of the fundamentals of Bitcoin. Okay, so let's start with the story. Hi, I see Tanya's there. Hugo, nice to have you guys on board. Lovely, awesome. Okay, so let's start with this Byzantine Generals Problem, right? Let's go back to the era of the Byzantine Empire. And all of you guys watching are generals in the army of this Byzantine Empire. And you are tasked with having to go and attack and take over a city. So you and a bunch of other generals in your army go to the city, you surround it, stake it out, and you start getting ready for an attack, right? It's a fairly big city, so all of you generals are fairly far away from one another, and the only way you can communicate with one another is by means of messengers that you have to send to one another. Now, you've staked out the place, and the big knob amongst you has now decided on a plan of action. This traffic light is taking forever. Okay, and now he needs to document that plan of action, put it into a couple of messages. Okay, he's going to put it into a block of messages, or list of messages, and he's going to give it to his messenger and send it off. It now needs to be disseminated amongst all the other generals. These messages are the plan of attack, and the plan of attack needs to be followed to the T by the majority of the generals in order for the attack to be successful. If you do not all follow the same plan, the attack will fail. All right, so now the problem that you have is this: the messengers that you use to deliver your messages have to either go through the city or around the city, terrain permitting. If they go through the city, a couple of things can happen. They can be intercepted by the city spies and killed, and the messages never reach the other generals, and the other generals won't know when to attack or how to attack. Or alternatively, they could be bribed and be given false messages, in which case the wrong messages end up going to the generals, and that just throws the entire attack into disarray, obviously, right? But that's not all. You actually might have a couple of treacherous generals in your army. Some of the generals in your army are actual traitors and may not attack at all, as per the plan of attack. So how do you solve this problem? How do you create a solution whereby every general that receives the messages can trust that these messages are the exact, true, single version of the truth messages according to which they will execute their attack? How do you solve that problem? That problem is the famous Byzantine Generals Problem. It actually relates to a class of distributed computing problems that was actually framed that way back in 1982. And in 2008, about 26 years later, an individual or a group of people by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto presented a paper, the Bitcoin paper. And in this paper, they actually outlined the solution to this Byzantine Generals Problem. It was an absolute breakthrough in computer science, one of the most revolutionary inventions since the advent of the internet. And effectively what the solution does is it solves the problem of decentralized decision making. Guys, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move over here to the side because I can see that the camera is quite shaky. The solution effectively was a way to make decentralized decision making work. And that is effectively the problem that the Byzantine generals were facing. How do you collectively reach consensus about what the true single version of the truth messages are that all the generals will agree to, or at least the loyal ones, and execute according to those messages? Same problem in computer systems, right? So Bitcoin actually solved this problem. And for the banking diehards and the blockchain diehards, the blockchain did not solve that problem, guys. It was the Bitcoin system that solved that particular problem. So now Bitcoin actually becomes more than just a monetary and payment system. It actually becomes a solution, a revolutionary solution that establishes trust in a system where you don't need to trust anyone in the system. And with Bitcoin, anyone can operate on this network. Anyone can participate on this network. You don't need to go through KYC to get a bank account, for example. You don't need to be put through AML checks. You don't need to be 16 years old to qualify for a bank account. That is not the case with Bitcoin. Anyone can participate. You don't know necessarily who participates on the network, yet the network creates a system of trust that allows you to transact with one another. If I send you a payment, I need to know that the payment will reach you regardless of the fact that there are hackers in the system. This Bitcoin network can be likened to the whole Byzantine army and city scenario, where all the participants of the Bitcoin network are basically all the role players in that story that I just described. And the messengers are the way transactions are being sent between the generals, and in our particular case, between participants where we try to make payments. If you receive a payment from me, you want to know that it is a legitimate payment, that it has not been tampered with, regardless of all of the hackers that are in the system. And this is what Bitcoin has enabled. This is why with a Bitcoin payment system, you do not need a bank or a central bank or a card operator for that matter to reconcile payments between senders and receivers. The system does this without the need for a central authority to intermediate, to play the middleman, to make sure that the books balance, etc. Bitcoin does that automatically. And I'm sure by now most of you are wondering how on earth it actually solved this problem, right? And I think if I do go into that, and I would like to, it will make this whole particular session rather long. So I think what I'll do is I will, if you guys like, leave some commentary for us, and I will talk about the specifics about how Bitcoin actually solved the Byzantine Generals Problem. Guys, I can't tell how long I've been live for, but I suspect I'm getting towards 10 minutes or something like that. So I'm going to finish up. I hope this was educational for you. If you want to know more, please just leave a comment. If you have a question, we'll try our best to respond as soon as possible. Engage with us. We've got lots of information that we want to share. We want to educate you guys. This is fantastic stuff. It is life-changing stuff. So thanks for joining us on this video. Chat soon. Whoa, hang on. Jenna, say goodbye to everyone.
Bye.
Okay. Ciao, guys. Bye.